The research vessel Axiom drifted silently through the outer edges of Sol system, its advanced cloaking systems rendering it invisible to Earth's primitive detection methods. Chief researcher Zix-427 studied the readings from the ship's quantum sensors with growing disbelief, her crystalline appendages flickering with waves of confusion. "Run the atmospheric analysis again," she ordered, her voice resonating through the ship's research chamber. The ship's AI complied instantly, but the results remained unchanged. The third planet of this unremarkable yellow star shouldn't harbor any advanced life forms, let alone a spacefaring civilization. The planet's conditions were, by any reasonable standard, lethal. Its gravity was crushing, nearly 10 meters per second squared. The atmosphere was a volatile mix of nitrogen and highly reactive oxygen. Temperature variations would shatter the molecular bonds of most sentient species, and yet there they were, billions of beings not just surviving but building cities, launching satellites, and reshaping their world. "Director Kilara needs to see this immediately," Zix-427 said, compiling her findings. Her second-in-command, Val 891, moved closer to the observation screen, his mineral-based form shifting uneasily. "The Galactic Scientific Council won't believe it," Val 891 said, watching as the sensors tracked a primitive rocket launching from the planet's surface, a Class 13 Deathworld producing intelligent life. "It defies every principle of xenobiological development we know." Zix-427 continued gathering data as the Axiom moved into a higher orbit. The humans, as they called themselves, seemed oblivious to the impossibility of their own existence. They had adapted to conditions that would kill most species in the known galaxy within minutes. "Look at this," she called out, highlighting a particular data stream. They deliberately exposed themselves to solar radiation for something called tanning. They willingly immersed themselves in highly corrosive dihydrogen monoxide for swimming. They even intentionally raised their core temperature through exercise to become stronger. The research team watched in fascination as their sensors revealed more about human society. These beings had turned their deadly environment into an advantage. They had learned to harness the very forces that should have eliminated them eons ago. Director Kilara's response to their initial report came swiftly. The Axiom's communication array hummed as her holographic form materialized in the research chamber. Her crystalline structure, typical of the leadership caste, sparkled with urgency. "Your findings are disturbing," Kilara said, reviewing the data. "A species that evolves in such conditions, that adapts to overcome such extremes, they could be either the greatest allies or the greatest threat our civilization has ever encountered." "There's more," Zix-427 added, pulling up additional sensor readings. "They're advancing at an unprecedented rate. Their technological progress in the last century alone exceeds what most species achieve in millennia. They've gone from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary space exploration in less than one of their orbital periods." Director Kilara's form flickered as she processed this information. "Continue your observation, but maintain absolute stealth protocols. We need to understand these humans better before deciding how to proceed. If they can achieve so much in an environment that should kill them, they might be capable of anything." Zix-427 finished the thought. As the Axiom continued its silent vigil above Earth, its crew watched humanity with a mixture of fear and fascination. They observed humans living in frozen wastelands and scorching deserts. They saw them dive into oceanic trenches and climb mountains where the air was too thin to sustain most life forms. But most importantly, they saw humans constantly pushing their limits, deliberately seeking out challenges that would make any rational species retreat in terror. They were watching the evolution of something unprecedented in the galaxy, a species that had turned survival itself into an art form. "We're not just observing a new species," Zix-427 noted in her final report for the day. "We're witnessing the emergence of a force that could reshape the galaxy. The question isn't whether humans can survive in space. It's whether the rest of us can survive their arrival. As she filed her report, a small group of humans in a research facility far below was making a breakthrough in faster-than-light travel, completely unaware that they were about to turn the galaxy's understanding of what was possible upside down. The Grand Archive of the Galactic Scientific Council stretched across an entire artificial moon, its crystalline towers housing the accumulated knowledge of 10,000 civilizations. In a secure analysis chamber deep within the structure, Director Kilora faced the Emergency Assessment Committee, her form projecting waves of concern as she presented the Axiom's findings. The humans have achieved in mere centuries what takes most species millennia, she explained, displaying holographic data streams that filled the chamber. But it's not just their technological progress that concerns us. It's their fundamental relationship with adversity. The committee members watched in stunned silence as footage from Earth played before them. Humans running marathons in scorching heat, diving into freezing waters, climbing sheer cliff faces without safety equipment. Each example seemed more impossible than the last. Senior Counselor Vex, his ancient silicon-based form crackling with age, leaned forward. These recordings, they can't be accurate. No species would willingly subject themselves to such conditions. The data is verified, Kilora confirmed. But this is just their recreation. Their actual survival adaptations are even more remarkable. She gestured, and new images appeared. Humans recovering from severe injuries, adapting to extreme environments, developing resistance to toxins that should have been lethal. They call it training, she continued. They intentionally stress their bodies and minds to become stronger. Every challenge we would consider a threat to survival, they view as an opportunity for growth. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Counselor Nixus, representing the Endangered Species Preservation Coalition, raised a tendril in question. What of their military capabilities? Kilora's crystalline structure dimmed noticeably. That's what truly concerns us. Their entire history is a continuous series of conflicts, each driving them to develop more effective ways of survival and warfare. They've turned the deadly conditions of their homeworld into tactical advantages. The holographic display shifted to show human military exercises, soldiers running with heavy equipment in crushing gravity, training in Arctic conditions, conducting underwater operations. They've mastered warfare in environments that would kill most species instantly, Kilora explained. Their military doctrine is built on the principle of adapting to and overcoming any challenge. Surely they must have weaknesses, another counselor interjected. Their environment must have limited their development in some way. That's just it, Kilora responded. What should have been limitations became catalysts for innovation. Their high-gravity environment forced them to develop incredibly efficient propulsion systems. Their atmospheric composition led to advanced filtration technology. Even their biological vulnerabilities pushed them to create medical sciences far beyond what their current technological level should allow. The display showed human space programs, their primitive but remarkably effective vessels pushing against the boundaries of their solar system. They're on the verge of developing faster-than-light travel, Kilora continued. When they achieve it, they'll bring with them a perspective on survival and adaptation that could fundamentally change the balance of power in the galaxy. Senior Counselor Vex's form pulsed with decision. We must take action before they become a threat. History has taught us the danger of waiting too long to contain potentially dangerous species. But Counselor Nixus interjected, her form shifting in agitation. Or we could be facing the greatest opportunity in galactic history. A species that can not only survive but thrive in conditions we consider impossible. Their adaptability could be the key to solving problems we've struggled with for millennia. The debate raged on, but Kilora's attention was drawn to a new report from the Axiom. The humans had just demonstrated their first successful quantum entanglement communication system, decades ahead of predicted development schedules. They were adapting and advancing even as the Council debated their fate. Whatever we decide, she interrupted, her voice cutting through the arguments. We must decide quickly. The humans aren't waiting for our permission to advance. They've spent their entire existence overcoming impossible odds. If we make ourselves their next challenge, we must be prepared for them to adapt to us as well. The committee fell silent, the weight of the decision before them hanging heavy in the chamber. The fate of not just humanity, but potentially the entire galaxy, would hinge on their next steps. As if to emphasize the point, a final piece of data scrolled across the displays. Human scientists had just achieved their first controlled fusion reaction, solving in months an energy problem that had stymied other civilizations for generations. The humans weren't just surviving anymore. They were about to take their place among the stars. The only question was whether the galaxy was ready for them. The United Nations Emergency Council chamber buzzed with tension as Earth's first contact with alien life unfolded in a way no one had expected. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's hastily appointed diplomatic coordinator, stood steady despite the crushing revelation that humanity had been under observation for years. Across from her, the alien delegation's environmental suits hummed as they struggled to cope with Earth's conditions. Ambassador Ixel, the crystalline being leading the Galactic Council's delegation, spoke through their translation matrix. "We come with concerns about your species' rapid advancement and unique adaptations." Unique adaptations. General Marcus Rivera shifted in his seat, decades of military experience evident in his measured tone. "You mean our ability to survive on our own planet?" "Your planet," Ambassador Ixel's translator conveyed carefully, "is what we classify as a Class 13 Deathworld. The fact that you not only survive but thrive here defies all known parameters of species development." Dr. Chen noticed the subtle emphasis on thrive. Was it fear she detected in the aliens' harmonics? The meeting had been arranged after humanity's quantum communication breakthrough had made it impossible for the Galactic Council to maintain their secrecy. But instead of the expected welcome to galactic society, they were receiving what sounded suspiciously like a warning. "The Council has reviewed your history," Ixel continued, crystalline form shimmering with what seemed like anxiety. "Your constant drive to push boundaries, to adapt to what should be unsurvivable conditions. We are concerned about how this might translate to interactions with other species." The chamber's atmosphere grew heavier as the implications sank in. They weren't here to welcome humanity. They were here to contain them. "Let me understand this correctly," Dr. Chen interjected, her voice calm but firm. "You're suggesting that our ability to survive and adapt is somehow a threat. Perhaps a demonstration would help explain our concerns," another alien delegate offered. Their environmental suit whirred as they projected a hologram showing various Earth activities: mountain climbing, deep-sea diving, spacewalks, high-G fighter pilot training. "What you consider normal, most species consider impossible," the delegate explained. "Your military personnel train in conditions that would kill most sentient beings instantly. Your civilians engage in recreational activities more dangerous than our species' survival tests." General Rivera leaned forward. "And this makes us a threat." "It makes you unpredictable," Ambassador Ixel responded. "Your species treats lethal conditions as challenges to overcome rather than warnings to heed. The Council believes this mindset, combined with your rapidly advancing technology, could destabilize the galactic community." Dr. Chen exchanged glances with her colleagues. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, but no one had imagined they would be feared for their basic survival traits. "What exactly are you proposing?" she asked, though she suspected she wouldn't like the answer. "The Council offers a compromise," Ixel stated. "Accept limited expansion within your solar system, under supervision. Your advancement would be guided, controlled, for the safety of all species." The human delegation sat in stunned silence. They were being offered a cage, albeit a gilded one. "And if we refuse?" General Rivera's question hung in the air like a drawn weapon. Ambassador Ixel's crystalline form dulled noticeably. "Then the Council would be forced to take more direct measures to ensure galactic stability." Dr. Chen stood, her movement causing the alien delegation to flinch slightly in their environmental suits. a reaction that didn't go unnoticed by anyone in the room. "Ambassador," she said, her voice carrying the weight of human history, "our entire existence has been shaped by overcoming challenges that should have destroyed us. Every time nature tried to kill us, we adapted. Every time our environment proved hostile, we learned to thrive in it. We turned our planet's deadliest features into tools for survival." She gestured to the holograms still showing human achievements. "You see these as warnings of our dangerous potential. We see them as proof of our species' fundamental truth. There is no challenge we cannot adapt to, no obstacle we cannot overcome." The alien delegation's unease was palpable now. Their environmental suits readings fluctuated as they processed the implied meaning behind her words. "Are you threatening the Council?" Ixel asked, their translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of their alarm. "No, Ambassador," Dr. Chen replied with a smile that carried both warmth and steel. "I'm simply explaining why your offer of containment is impossible. Humanity doesn't know how to accept limitations. We never have. We never will." As if to punctuate her point, an aide rushed into the chamber with breaking news. Human scientists had just achieved their first successful faster-than-light test flight, years ahead of the Council's projected timeline. The aliens' environmental suits whirred in distress as they realized the truth. They weren't dealing with a species that could be contained. They were witnessing the emergence of a force that would reshape the galaxy, whether they approved or not. The Galactic Council's ultimatum arrived on all Earth's communication channels simultaneously. The crystalline form of High Commander Nexus filled screens worldwide, their message clear and cold. "You have 24 hours to accept our terms of containment, or we will be forced to demonstrate why the galaxy follows our guidance." In the newly established Global Defense Command Center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Chen watched the message replay alongside military leaders from Earth's major powers. The bunker, designed to withstand forces that would shatter most alien structures, hummed with activity. "They're already moving their fleet into position," General Rivera reported, gesturing to the quantum radar display. 50 capital ships, at least 300 support vessels. Dr. Chen studied the tactical display with a grim smile. "They still don't understand us, do they? They think superior technology and numbers will be enough." The alien fleet's formation was perfect, their technology far beyond Earth's current capabilities. But they had made one critical mistake. They were fighting in Earth's gravity well, in Earth's atmosphere, against a species that had turned survival in hostile conditions into an art form. "Launch Operation Prometheus," Dr. Chen ordered. Around the world, humanity's response began. In the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench, submarines that had been designed to withstand pressures that would implode alien vessels powered up their experimental quantum drives. From bunkers in the Siberian permafrost, missiles designed to function in temperatures that would freeze alien systems solid roared to life. The alien fleet detected none of this. Their sensors, calibrated for the gentle conditions of their homeworlds, were blind to human ingenuity. They never saw the attack coming. The first strike came from the deep ocean vessels. Rising from pressures that would crush alien ships instantly, they fired electromagnetic pulses calibrated to the exact frequency that would disrupt crystalline technology. Alien shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did nothing against weapons based on Earth's natural electromagnetic field. Impossible. High Commander Nexus watched as a third of their fleet went dark, their crystalline systems shattered by forces they had never needed to defend against. Their technology is primitive. They shouldn't be able to. The second wave hit before they could recover. From the frozen wastes of Earth's poles, missiles designed to function in temperature extremes that would shut down alien systems streaked skyward. They carried no explosives. They didn't need to. Instead, they released clouds of water vapor, a substance so corrosive to crystalline life forms that the Galactic Council had classified it as a weapon of mass destruction. "Pull back," Nexus ordered, but the retreat was already chaos. Their ships, designed for the sterile vacuum of space, were being torn apart by Earth's atmosphere. Lightning storms, hurricane-force winds, and temperature variations that would be lethal to most species were just another day on Earth, and humanity had learned to weaponize them all. In the command center, Dr. Chen watched the alien fleet's disarray with a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. "We tried to tell them," she said quietly. "Every hostile environment we've faced has just made us stronger." The aliens had expected to face primitive spacecraft. Instead, they found themselves fighting a species that had turned their entire deadly planet into a weapon. Human ships, built to withstand Earth's crushing gravity, danced through maneuvers that turned alien crews to paste. Weapons designed to function in Earth's extreme conditions tore through defenses calibrated for gentler environments. But it was the ground forces that truly demonstrated why humanity had thrived on a Deathworld. When alien troops attempted to land, they found themselves facing soldiers who trained in conditions that their environmental suits couldn't handle. Special forces teams who routinely operated in environments that would kill most species led the counterattack. "Look at their formations," General Rivera pointed out. "They're fighting like they expect us to follow the same limitations they do. They don't understand that what they consider unsurvivable conditions are our normal training environments." The alien command ship's transmission cut through the chaos, their translator struggling to convey their disbelief. How are you doing this?" Dr. Chen took the communication controls herself. "You called Earth a death world," she responded. "You're right. Everything on this planet, from the gravity to the atmosphere to the weather, should have killed us. But instead of dying, we adapted. Instead of avoiding challenges, we learned to overcome them. You tried to cage a species that had turned survival itself into a strength." The alien fleet's retreat was becoming a rout. Their perfect formations shattered, their superior technology rendered useless by conditions they had never needed to consider. They had brought their advanced weapons to a fight against a species that had spent its entire existence learning to turn hostile environments into advantages. As the last alien ships fled Earth's gravity well, Dr. Chen sent one final message. "We will not be contained, but we're still willing to talk about cooperation as equals. After all, adapting to new situations is what we do best." In the aftermath, as humanity began to assess what they had learned from their first interstellar conflict, one thing became clear. They were no longer just survivors of a death world. They had become its masters, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, now modified to accommodate Earth's atmospheric conditions, an unprecedented gathering was taking place. Representatives from 1,000 worlds watched as Dr. Chen addressed the assembly, her unprotected human form a stark contrast to the environmental suits and containment fields required by most species. "3 months ago, you saw humanity as a threat," she began, her voice carrying through the chamber's translation matrices. "You feared our ability to survive in conditions you considered lethal. Today, we're here to show you why those same abilities make us your greatest potential allies." The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Human engineers, working alongside alien species, were teaching them how to build ships that could withstand extreme conditions. The same adaptations that had allowed humanity to survive on Earth were now helping other species overcome their own limitations. High Commander Nexus, their crystalline form still showing stress patterns from their defeat at Earth, spoke next. "We were wrong about humanity. We saw their adaptability as a danger, their resilience as a threat. We failed to understand that these traits could be used for more than survival." The displays shifted to show human deep-sea technology being adapted to help species explore ocean worlds they had never been able to access before. Earth's medical techniques, developed to heal injuries that would be fatal to most species, were revolutionizing galactic healthcare. "What we once feared," Nexus continued, "has become our greatest asset. Humanity's experience with extreme conditions has given them insights that our comfortable existence never provided." Dr. Chen gestured, and new images appeared. Human scientists working with alien researchers to develop environmental suits that could withstand previously impossible conditions. Space stations incorporating Earth-inspired designs that could survive in the harshest regions of space. We learned long ago that the most hostile environments often hold the greatest opportunities, she explained. Every challenge Earth presented made us stronger, more innovative, more adaptable. Now we can help you do the same. The evidence was undeniable. Planets that had been considered too dangerous to explore were now being studied using human-designed equipment. Species that had been limited by their environmental needs were learning to push beyond those boundaries, inspired by humanity's example. But perhaps most surprisingly, humanity's influence extended beyond mere technology. Their perspective on challenges and adaptation was transforming galactic culture itself. Your species has taught us something profound, a representative from an ancient spacefaring race admitted. We had grown comfortable in our limitations, accepting them as unchangeable facts. You showed us that limitations are often just challenges waiting to be overcome. The chamber's atmosphere shifted as success stories were shared. A species that had been confined to their home system due to their sensitivity to radiation had now established their first extrasolar colony, using protective systems inspired by human technology. Another race had adapted human deep-sea training techniques to explore the gas giants they had long avoided. This is humanity's true gift to the galaxy, Dr. Chen concluded. Not just our technology or our methods, but our fundamental belief that there is no challenge too great to overcome, no obstacle that cannot be adapted to and mastered. The Council's response was unprecedented. An unanimous vote to establish the Galactic Adaptation Initiative, with Earth as a primary training ground for species seeking to push beyond their traditional limitations. As the session concluded, Director Kilara, who had first discovered humanity, approached Dr. Chen privately. "We thought your Deathworld had created warriors," the director admitted. "Instead, it created teachers." Dr. Chen smiled. "The greatest strength of humanity isn't our ability to survive hardship," she replied. "It's our drive to help others do the same. Every challenge we overcome just gives us more knowledge to share." Outside the chamber, Earth's first faster-than-light passenger ship prepared for its maiden voyage, its crew a mixture of humans and aliens. Its mission was symbolic of humanity's new role in the galaxy, not as conquerors or threats, but as guides helping other species navigate the challenges that had forged humanity into what it was. The ship's name, displayed proudly on its hull, summed up everything humanity had learned from their Deathworld origins, and everything they hoped to teach the galaxy: adaptation. As the vessel disappeared into FTL, carrying the dreams and aspirations of 1,000 worlds, the galaxy faced a new reality. The species that had evolved on a Deathworld hadn't just survived their harsh origins. They had turned that crucible of evolution into a beacon of hope for all species ready to push beyond their limits. The age of limitation was over. The age of adaptation had begun.